Live. And welcome to Live with Sean Spencer, your boy. Yo, so glad to be here with you guys.
That sun shining on you. Always put yourself in a position where the sun shines on you.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that's Let's Talk Football. And today I am here with Off the Wall Media, doing Off the Wall Sports. You see it. We on air, people. It's your boy Sean Spencer. So happy that all of you can join me on this, the second day of July. And listen, it's getting hot out there, ladies and gentlemen. Get your water, get your beverage, get whatever you need to stay clean, stay hydrated. Cause that's why I went out there early to walk. Cause yeah, it's a little warm. It's a little warm out there, my people. So appreciate all of y'all that are hopping in here, chilling, or getting around the way, talking, doing whatever you got to do, man. We are on here. Let's talk football for sure, but that's not what we talking right now per se. Right now, we off the wall sports. So we doing a little bit of everything. So shout out to Off the Wall Media, bringing your boy over here to chit chat it up. So let's dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. July 4th, 2 days from now, we are in the thick of World Cup season. It is going on. It is beautiful. I know everybody and their mama is in front of a TV watching some World Cup action. And hey, your boy, my cup of tea is football, but American football, but football is something I have to also dive into, and I'm loving it, man. I'm telling you, the vibes, the aura, the fans, the camaraderie, everything about it is so dope, and I'm all about it, and I've been into it. Not I'm not gonna lie to you. The names are a little bit hard for me when I'm trying to figure out some. Like I know a lot of the up top, the big names, the Messi's and Mbappe, Steven Estacchio, some of it, but I don't know them all. But it's all good. I've been learning, and you don't even have to know the names sometimes. Sometimes if you watch on Telemundo, you don't even have to know what they're saying because when they hit that go, then you got it. We can all join in on that. So I absolutely love it, man. And let me real quick plug who we with Off the Wall Media, Bree and Art. They definitely run the show. Definitely big things. There's so many great people on here. I know Ricky was just on there doing his thing. We got who is it? I think Julia was on, Allison. They're out here, speaking. They speak. Bree was on a little bit earlier. The summer beat. Everybody's getting a little piece of the action, and it's so cool to kind of see everybody getting in where they fit in. And you know how I operate, man. I just got to come in here and try to rock with everybody and do what I can do. You know, operate the way I can operate. So, yo, we talked about it. It's Sean Spencer, Off the Wall Sports, brought to you by Off the Wall Media, just coming at you. But look, let's go ahead and do this. Let's take a look at where we're at. The round of 32 is technically we're still at the round of 32, trying to slowly move down into the round of 16. It's kind of like a little March Madness thing where you know, hey, we're getting close. We're getting close to this thing, and I'm loving it. In March Madness, we call it Sweet 16. But right now, it's a round of 32, and these games, they most of them have been played. Not all of them. We got a couple today, a couple tomorrow, and then we'll start the round of 16 formally on the 4th. But let's get into some of the games that have already happened on the 28th, which was a couple days ago. Canada was the first one to move on, and this is the best that Canada has ever done, the farthest they've ever gone in the knockout round, outlasting South Africa 1-0 with a late goal by Steven Estacchio. I talked about that the day that it happened. It was so cool to kind of see Canada move on, how excited they were. Their coach, a fellow American who out there coaching the Canadian squad and help them to get it done after the game, talking about you guys are the Canadian heroes. You guys are heroes. So they got a tough matchup coming up. So definitely see if they can keep it going. The next day, the 29th, we saw Brazil play Japan. Brazil, obviously, one of the more favorite teams, one of the teams that everybody's expecting to kind of go deeper in the tournament. And as we saw, if you watch that game, a lot of people were sitting there like, what is happening? What's going on? Because early on in that game, Japan jumped up in there and started things off, getting that 1-0 lead going into the halftime. And people are saying, upset, upset, up, boo hoo. Are we seeing an upset? But Brazil does what Brazil does best, and that is stay calm, stay poised, and dominate late in the game. They hit two late goals in the game to end up pulling it out 2-1, and they ended up beating Japan and moving on. Now, on the next couple games, the favorites weren't. It wasn't that easy for them, and it started off with Germany. Germany, another team, was highly favored. They were a team that a lot of people thought, with their skill, with their ability, could definitely take it a little bit farther. Not so fast, as my guy Lee Corso would say. Germany falls to Paraguay after you know getting stalemate in that in regulation, even in extra time. They couldn't pull it out. It went to penalty kicks, and in fact, it went all the way down to uh, past the 5 penalty kicks. It was tied 3-3, and they had to go to sudden death penalty kicks in this game. And I'm going to tell you, Paraguay did the unthinkable. Paraguay pulled it out, and a lot of people were shocked. I mean, I thought it was so cool to watch Paraguay, watch their fans, watch how excited they all got when Paraguay was able to pull that one out, upset the highly favored Germany, pull out the W, and move on. And we talk about Cinderella stories. We talk about those teams. Whoa, can they make it happen? Can they keep it moving? We saw that with Paraguay getting that done. That was the first upset. And then next, you had Netherlands, who was another team that a lot of people thought would at least go farther, at least go to the second round, if not farther in the tournament. They end up falling to Morocco in almost the same fashion after regulation and still tied at 1. Then after extra time and still tied at 1. They end up going to penalty kicks, and when they go to penalty kicks, Morocco kept their poise, kept their composure, ends up pulling it out 3-2. Morocco moves on, beating the Netherlands, and we'll talk about some of those upsets a little bit later, because when you see this, you're kind of sitting here like, whoa, wait a minute. A lot of people were picking Germany. A lot of people were picking the Netherlands to at least go a little bit farther, if not go real deep in this tournament, and they get knocked out. They're the first two real major casualties that people were looking at them like, wow, that's kind of crazy. I didn't expect to see that. But yeah, so the 29th, that triple header on that day was absolutely amazing. We saw kind of how that whole thing played out. You move on to then the 30th. And Norway is the first one to get it done, beating the Ivory Coast 2-1. They came back after being down 1-0 and came back and 2 major goals late in the game. And you saw kind of how tense it was. Norway was like, wait, are we going to get it done? Is it going to happen? They ended up pulling that thing out, getting the W, up 2-1. Then, and the next 2 matchup, it was kind of part of the course. It's kind of what you expected. France and Mbappe getting done, just absolutely. I mean, and crushing them 3-0 over Sweden. And the funny thing is, Sweden held their own for a while. I mean, there was a lot of times where France was getting it. I think there was a couple kicks that one went off the post, another was just right over the top of the net, and you're sitting here like, oh, are they going to get it done? Are they going to be able to finally get it through there? And eventually they ended up doing it. They got through. France, and then once they scored once, I mean, and the floodgates opened. You saw they continued to score one after the other. France getting it done 3-0 and clearly moving on. And we know France is definitely one of the favorites, finishing, I believe, second either last time or a couple years back, and then obviously winning it in recent history. So we know France has that talent. We know they have the ability to go very far in this. So for them to do what they did was huge. And then the last one on the 30th was Mexico. Mexico beating Ecuador 2-0, blanking them, doing what a lot of people expected them to do, getting the dub, showing up, and hey, moving on. One down, couple more to go. And you saw that, you saw the elevation. And some of these, with the, we saw what happened on the 29th. We saw how, Germany and Netherlands fell, and a lot of people weren't expecting that. But what we saw on the 30th, what we saw a couple days ago, was more what we expected to see. We more of how we expected to see things kind of play out. What's going on, people that are hopping in here? Definitely, hey, chat with me. Let me know what y'all think. How y'all feel about these early matchups in the World Cup, this round of 32? Do you like the round of 32? Do you like this knockout round, this kind of sudden death, the March Madness type thing in July, June, July? I'm absolutely loving it. And like I said, the 30th, we saw Norway come back, get it done. France just handle business, business as usual, keep moving. Mexico did the same thing, and they all advance, knocking out the Swedens and knocking out Ecuador, and unfortunately another one of the African teams in the Ivory Coast getting knocked out. And then you go to yesterday, the 1st of July. The heat is turned up, but and also it's turned up in these games. England coming back, beating Congo. Congo jumps up 1-0. Their fans are wild. They are getting hyped. I mean, I'm telling you, I got caught up in that whole Congo, the flair, the excitement, man. We talk about the vibe, we talk about the energy from the players, from the crowd, but you kind of had that feeling. The later it got, you were starting to believe, could Congo get it done? Can they last? Can they outlast these guys? But you kind of had that feeling like, when's the shoe gonna drop? How long could they last in this against a powerful England team? And eventually, England got it done. Eventually, England, they broke through, got their first goal to tie it up late in the game, and then they jumped out, got another goal, and you're up 2-1, and then Congo just didn't have anything left in the tank, and it was unfortunate because you love seeing how much they put in to get to this point, and how I mean, they had England on the ropes. They had England and giving them everything that they can handle, but unfortunately for Congo, England, the better team, prevailed in this one, getting those two late goals, and they now are ready and moved right along. And the same with Senegal. Senegal is another one. They're playing Belgium. They're playing tough. I mean, they were able to get those two goals in there. They were going back and forth, but Belgium comes out on top 3-2. And what we've seen is the highest scoring game to that point in regulation. A lot of those other higher scoring games made it was more for the penalty kicks, but they've really been 1-1 or 1-0, something like that. This one in regulation, 3 goals to 2, a hard fought contested match. Senegal played their butts off, tried to do whatever they could do. Unfortunately, Belgium got it done. They pulled this thing out, and hey, they're moving on. And hey, we're in America, USA. USA, you know where we are. That was the last game of the night last night. USA in LA beating Bosnia 2-0. I was able to catch some of that game last night, and the energy. I mean, look, we as a country, our fans, when we dive into something, we really go hard at it. The commercials, the advertisements, all that stuff has been really nice to see, and you saw it in the fan base. How excited we get, and once we broke through and got that first goal, I mean, the USA went crazy. The fans, the crowd, everybody went nuts, getting it done, pulling it out, and then obviously putting on the insurance goal to jump up 2-0. We ended up ending it that way, blanking Bosnia and moving on to the next round. Shout out to my USA people. How are y'all feeling about that? USA moving on. How do you feel? Do you think we can keep this thing up? Obviously, there's a lot of tough competition in the World Cup, but do you think USA could keep this thing going? Hey, I'm excited to see if they can do it. I don't know if they can do it, but I know just like in March Madness, survive in advance. And this one they looked good. They got it done. Let's see how far they can push it. But it's going to be interesting because there are some teams out there, some teams that have played, like the Frances and Mexico and some of these teams that have already done it, and then there's other teams that haven't played yet that we're going to talk about that are really some favorite teams that it's kind of like, ooh, if we got to go up against them, it could be rough. It absolutely could be rough. So look, let's go. That was the games from yesterday. Now there are games that will be played today at 3 o'clock in California, in Inglewood, California. Spain will be playing Austria. That's going to be a highly contested matchup. I'm kind of eager to kind of see how that plays out. Who can get the upper hand in that one? That is the 3 o'clock game. Then in Toronto at 7 p.m. tonight, you got Portugal playing Croatia to see who can move it. And these are all trying to get to that round of 16, all trying to move up one stance to get to the round of 16 to move on and see if they can keep their World Cup hopes alive. That's going to be interesting. And then to end the night, tonight at 11 o'clock, Switzerland plays Algeria in Vancouver, Canada to end the night, man. Who you guys got? Let me know. Spain, Austria, who you got in that matchup. Then obviously Portugal and Croatia. What you think? And then finishing the night, Switzerland and Algeria. Where are you leaning? I need to know how y'all are feeling about that because for me, I'm gonna go with three crazy quick picks. Don't hate me because I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know the most about these guys, but I know that I think some guys might have it over the other one. Number one, I'm gonna go Spain in the 3 p.m. game. I'm going Portugal in the 7 p.m. game, and then I'm coming home. I'm going Algeria, baby, over Switzerland in the Vancouver game. Let me know. Don't crucify me, because I'm not as up on some of these teams, but I got a feeling. I got a feeling. I'm just gonna pull with some of these guys and kind of see where we go with it. I'm excited to see, but those are the games that will be going on tonight. And to wrap up the round of 32 tomorrow night, or tomorrow during the day and end through the night, we got some teams playing out. First, Australia playing Egypt at 2 p.m. tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, we know the skill of Australia. We know Egypt, another one of those African teams to hop in there. Let's see. My guy, Nine, the poet's in the building. What's going on, Nine? How you feeling, man? I was beginning to worry about you, my friend. I was beginning to worry to see. I didn't know where you was at. Yo, Nine's up in here, man. Let me know if you watching this World Cup soccer, Nine, man. If you getting in with some of this stuff, my friend, for sure. But then also, and later on, yeah, buddy, at 6 p.m., Argentina versus Cape Verde. Man, hey, Argentina is one of those teams that's looked at as a favorite. That's one of those teams that a lot of people are looking at as a highly favored. They think that could be one of those teams that's going to get it. Nine sitting here saying USA, USA, and nine they right in your neck of the woods, man. They playing the NRG. They there's a lot of people in Texas getting down playing, man. So man, might have to make that happen. Hey, Cape Verde is a beautiful place though. It's right. That is, it is. I don't know if they gonna pull it out. In fact, I'm pulling. I think Argentina's gonna has that one pretty solid. We'll see what happens. But you're absolutely right that Cape Verde is definitely a dope place, and they play at 6 p.m. And then another place that is dope, Colombia playing Ghana at 9:30 p.m. tomorrow night. That will wrap up the round of 32. Let me know how y'all feel, man. Yo, not saying it's going down like birdie. Hey, right? As long as the ladies from Cape Verde, I don't know what happened, bruh. If you need to talk about that, we need to look at Cape Verde. We need to look at Argentina. Look at them Jones from Colombia, my friend. I'm telling you, man, These games are going to be hot, not only for the on the field, but loving to see the fans off the field, the vibe, the chance, the excitement, the momentum, everything about it is so hyped. I'm gonna tell you, for my money, I'm a big college football, big NFL football fan. The crowds are crazy. The energy is electric. Absolutely. But these World Cup fans, man, I'm telling you, man, they rival that, man. They are out here. They are loud. They're singing their songs. They're going, "Eh, ole." I mean, they're doing their whole thing, and I'm for it. I'm all for it. So I will definitely miss when this World Cup season is over. But I'm in it while we in it. That's where I've been at World Cup parties. Yeah, man, I can dig it, man. I can dig it, man. I had to go out and watch some World Cup last night, man. It was a good time, man. It was definitely a fun time, man. So I can dig that. But yo, that's the end of the round of 32. We're kind of seeing, tomorrow will end the round of 32. We're starting to see how the round of 16 will shape up, and like I said, it's similar to the Sweet 16. It's similar to kind of like March Madness style. You get that knockout round, that survive and advance, and then you move on, and that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope to see, man. So we're gonna take a look and see how this thing is going to play out. And I'm gonna take a quick little breather, hit y'all with a commercial for my guys in Chicago, the Alcalas Western Wear, and then I'm gonna dive into some of these matchups in the round of 16. I'll be right back.
Howdy, y'all. Sean Spencer here. Today we're going to take a look at a little piece of Southern country right here in Midwest home, downtown Chicago.
Looking for boots? They've got them. Looking for chaps? Not a problem. Looking for hats? They've got that.
Find your piece of country living.
Yeah, buddy. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Alcalas Western Wear, based out of the west side of Chicago. They have a number of stores out there, and that is where you can get all of your Western wear, the chaps, the boots, the hats, the pants, the clothes, everything. It's dope. It's on fire. I love it. I appreciate them giving me an opportunity to hop out there and do that commercial for them. Forgive me as I kind of fix my screen. There we go. Do that commercial for them. I definitely enjoyed myself as I was out there, and you know, get it in for my people, man. Helping them out, they helped me out. We did a good thing. We did a good thing. But look, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. You see what it is. Off the Wall Sports with your guy Sean Spencer, part of the Off the Wall Media brand, doing our thing, talking sports. That's what I do. There's a lot of other shows on here. Got to shout out my guy Nine, the poet, who is all about that poetry, that spoken word, that stuff, getting it out there. This guy, man, if you, bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, do yourself a favor, check out his Instagram, check out his, his TikTok. The man has that poetry that, it's some of it's for the ladies, some of it's for the people, for the cause. I mean, but the way that the words flow, the way that it goes. He even had one about, hey, I need that hookup. I need that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he hits it, man. That's my people's right there, man. So shout out to Nine. He is a dope dude. Definitely family for sure. So holla at the dude, man. Definitely get at him. But look, we over here talking about the World Cup, man. Nine was even mentioning these parties, man. These World Cup parties are lit, bruh. You sitting in here watching these games, people coming together with the cookout and this and that. It's hot. I'm all about it. I'm loving it, man. Let me know what y'all doing. Are y'all out here partying for the World Cup? I mean, obviously there's gonna be some games today. There's gonna be some games tomorrow, the fourth, the fifth. I mean, there's gonna be games all the way up through the next week or two until we get down to the finals, man. So July is gonna be rich with games, and it's gonna run right into football season. So I'm hyped. I gives me something to do. But look, the round of 16 is shaping up. I talked about the round of 32 matchup. So we definitely got to get into this round of 16 that will start on the 4th of July, America's 250th birthday, and rightfully so. It's in America for the most part. It's also in Canada, but hey, we. I feel like Canada's close to us. A lot of other people, some people, some regimes some orange. Don't they tried to hate on Canada, but it's all great. We ain't even gonna go down that road today, but we gonna show love to our brothers in north of the border and how they get down. But and speaking of Canada, they will start it off on the 4th at 1 p.m. in Houston, Texas, NRG. I'm outside for the show. My guy. Hey, just here for the vibes, my dude. Yo, they gonna be in your neck of the woods, Nine. They are going to be Canada will be playing Morocco. Yes, at 1 p.m. on the 4th in Houston, Texas at NRG Stadium. So I'm hyped to see that game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I know Morocco. We saw they got the upset over the Netherlands. Can they keep it going? Canada. It took all of what ex regulation, a little bit of extra time in the stoppage play. I think it was the 92nd minute that Canada finally pulled out the victory and got the goal. Steven Eustáquio with the game winner. And look, Morocco's another one of those teams, man. Plays good defense, waits for their opportunities, and then they could potentially strike. And if, as we've seen, some of these teams, if you get to extra time and then you potentially get the penalty kicks, all bets are off. All you got to do is hit a couple kicks, and hey, there we go. We're in it. So we'll see what happens with that. But Canada playing Morocco in Houston at 1 p.m. on the 4th, on this Saturday. Then the next one at 5 p.m. in Philly, you got Mexico. You got England. I mean, this is a matchup I really want to see. Two solid teams, both of which came off a victory. Both scored 2 goals in their opener. Mexico, obviously, as we know, they blanked Ecuador 2-0 in the first round. England had to come from behind and pull out the victory against Congo 2-1. But both of them showed up when they needed to. Both of them played well when they needed to. And hey, I'm eager to see this one. I don't know how it's going to play out, Mexico or England, but I do know it's going to be actually, matter of fact, let me go back and check and see where exactly it's going to be. Let me see if it's on this one. Taco Tuesday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Matter of fact, let me pull that up real quick. Bear with your boy as I'm seeing where's England. That's gonna be actually on July 5th. Okay, that's gonna be on July 5th at 8 o'clock. And if I'm not mistaken, at Mexico City. Absolutely, that will be Mexico City, Mexico. So it's kind of like Mexico might have a little home field advantage, if you will. You know what I mean? We'll see how that plays out. How is England able to handle that kind of going in Mexico's neck of the woods? How are they able to kind of get down with that? Because look, we've seen how good Mexico is. That's where the World Cup. That's where I've been at World Cup. Okay, we'll see how Mexico is. We see what's going on with that. That's going to be interesting. Then you have on the 5th, you have Brazil playing Norway, East Rutherford, New York, and they over at New York, New Jersey, because it's right there at Giant Stadium. That's gonna be something I'm interested in. Brazil obviously went down 1-0 to Japan and then came back, pulled out the victory, did what they done. We know Brazil has five-time World Cup champs, so we've seen the dominance of them. Didn't look good early, but they pulled it out. They did what they had to do. Now playing a Norway team that is ready. They're ready to play. They've shown up. How is this going to play out? That's my question. How is this going to play out? What are your thoughts? Can Brazil get it done? Will Norway shock them and do something that we might not have seen in a while? Like I want to know kind of where y'all are feeling this thing is going to play, because it's going to be quite interesting, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I'm absolutely looking for. Another one I'm trying to look on here to see Brazil, Norway. That's going to be at 4 o'clock on Sunday. Let me see. Then on another one on Sunday, obviously it said Mexico, England. And then USA, we talked about it. USA is playing Belgium. USA obviously got that victory over Bosnia. Belgium outlasted Senegal 3-2. Hey, USA, I know we're hyped. I know we're excited. Belgium, they had a test against Senegal. Can USA outdo Belgium? That's going to be interesting. That's going to be a Monday at 8 p.m. They're going to play on that one. I'm trying to look for. Oh, okay. I got the next game that's on Saturday. I was looking for what the next game on Saturday was, and that's going to be France versus Paraguay. France, we know. Mbappe, we know how dominant they are. They blasted Sweden 3-0 in that game. Paraguay, they play tough. I mean, they played a defensive battle. They kept Germany. I kept saying Georgia. They kept Germany on their heels, stopped them, made sure they were able to put everything in front of them and take advantage of their opportunities. Ended up getting it into extra time. Ended up getting it into the sudden death period, the penalty kicks, and pulled it out. But how much magic do they have? France is one of those teams that a lot of people are thinking is going to go far. They're one of those teams that a lot of people have picked to potentially win this whole daggone thing. So this is going to be interesting. You know, can that Cinderella, is that glass slipper still there, or has it struck midnight for Paraguay? And then with France, does that freight train keep going? Does that freight train keep going? We'll see. The winner of the Canada versus Morocco game will play the winner of the France versus Paraguay game, and that's on Thursday the 9th at 4 p.m. But going back to Monday, obviously, we got USA playing Belgium. We have to see. Now, whoever's the winner in that game, they will play the winner of either the Spain versus Austria game. That game is today at 3, or the Portugal versus Croatia. So whoever wins the Spain Austria, they play the winner of the Portugal Croatia game. So that's going to be something we got to look at, and we'll definitely discuss that a little bit later today on who pulled those victories out and who will move on. Then, as I talked about, on July 5th, you have Brazil playing Norway and Mexico playing England. The winner of those games, winner of the Brazil Norway, will play the winner of the Mexico versus England. That is Saturday, next Saturday, not in 2 days, but the following week, the 11th. They will play at 5 p.m. That's when we got to what would subsequently be the Elite Eight, if you will, of the World Cup. And then the last matchups, Tuesday, July 7th, you have the winners of the Switzerland versus Algeria game. They will be playing the winners of the Colombia versus Ghana game. That's going to be on Tuesday. We still have to see those games because those are tomorrow that they're going to play, and we'll see who wins that and who moves on. And then the last part of the round of 16 bracket will be the winner of the Australia versus Egypt game, which is tomorrow at 2. They will be playing the winner of the Argentina versus Cape Verde game. That is Tuesday, July 7th at 12. So listen, these games are, hey, we're out here, man. We're out here. The World Cup is on. It is popping. It is exciting. And let me know, man. Let me know how y'all feel, man. Where y'all at? What do you think? Who's going farther? For my money, way I saw what France did, I mean, obviously, I got mad respect to them. We're in the USA, so obviously, I got to rock with the USA, man. We'll see how USA holds on once the competition gets stiffer. Even with Belgium, it's going to be an interesting matchup. But what do you guys think, man? Who's moving on? Who's going to be somebody that's going to take this thing to the next level? Y'all let me know where y'all stand. Who are y'all rooting for in these matchup? I just want the Cape to do damage, but outside of that, USA. Yeah, no, I look. I would love it if Cape do it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Them going up against Argentina for me is it's gonna be rough. I don't think that if you want, if I'm a betting man, and we talked about that the other day on Truth Be Told, if I'm a betting man, I'm putting my money on Argentina. I'm not touching Cape Verde. But as we saw with Morocco, as we saw with Paraguay, not over till it's over. If you can stay around, if you can tie it up and get it to the penalty kicks, you have an opportunity. Then it becomes one guy versus one guy, 1-on-1. That goalie versus the kicker, and hey, it survive and advance. Just as long as you have a shot. If you just give me a shot, that's all you ask for. So, and we've seen a lot of defensive prowess. I'm also sad Congo lost. Bro, man, I was watching that Congo game, man. I was sitting there and I was rooting I was holding my tongue like, come on, man. Come on, keep it going, keep it going. And the later it got, the more exciting I got. I was like, man, come on, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, man. But unfortunately, man, we saw England, man. England, just like, just like my buddy was saying, colonizing again. Good God. But England pulled that thing out, man. And I wanted so bad to see the Congo pull out that upset. But you know what I loved about it, man? The Congo, they did what they could. They played their hearts out. They literally left it all on the field. And then after the game, they came together. They was praising God. They was in that circle, did their prayer. So thankful to be in that situation, man. I'm just mad we ain't gonna see my man's, you know what I'm saying, up there, with the hand up, standing still, doing what he got to do, man. We need to show love to Congo and all the 9 out of 10 African teams made it. We need to show love, man. That is an accomplishment. That is big time, man. I'm all for that. I love seeing that, man. So what are y'all thoughts, man? Let me know who y'all think is moving on, who y'all think is got, you know, got the ability to keep this thing going, man. Yeah, shout out to the statue guy. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, man. He did it, man. He absolutely did it. Bro, I was and the camera, they wasn't trying to show my guy that love. They wasn't trying to put him on there. I was kind of like, man, why ain't y'all putting the camera on my dude, man? What's the scoop? I'm trying to see him. You know what I mean? Oh man, I'm gonna check out Facebook, see if y'all up in these comments, see if y'all operating up here. What y'all doing, man? Because I need to know, man, how y'all feeling about these games? How y'all feeling about these matchups? Who is y'all's favorite? Obviously, if I'm looking at it right now, France is one of my favorites. Argentina is one of the favorites. I like what Mexico brings to the table. I'm always going to show love to you at USA because that's where we live. That's where we're at, man. So, and since we're seeing as we're hosting it, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And we already know that something they kind of did that on purpose. 250th anniversary of America. Obviously, we in here hosting things, man. Shout out to it, man. The world coming to us internationally and everything like that. I like it, man. I hope we can show love and truly show love and respect for all the different cultures of the world coming in here. And I hope this isn't just something that we're doing for this time of year. Let's let's keep that for the long haul, man, because that's definitely a big deal. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. Hey, I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I can dig it, man. I'm with you. I'm with you. Hey, if we can get it done, let's get it done then. Let's go. Let's go then. Let's get it done because I'm all for it. Realistically, I don't know. But if I'm hoping for it, and especially after I saw what Paraguay did, man, after I saw what the Netherlands did, or what Morocco did, all you got to do is just keep it up, man. Just keep playing as tough as you possibly can, man. You know what I mean? And I mean, you got to have some strategy. And let's dive into that real quick, man, because it's there has to be some kind of strategy. It's not impossible for it to happen. We saw Brazil, they almost got upset by Japan. They were able to pull it out. We saw England. I mean, they had to come from behind. They were down 1-0. We've seen these teams, play big and they gave it everything that they had, and unfortunately, they just didn't have enough. And a lot of it is the defensive prowess. Germany gets upset by Paraguay. Morocco gets upset by Netherlands. Both these upsets ended up being on penalty kicks, and essentially, it came down to the defense. It came down to the solid defense, forcing low percentage shots. And it's the same thing through all sports. In basketball, how do you stop a great scorer? You force them into low percentage shots. What did the Knicks do? They made those guys keep shooting from three. You live by a three, you die by a three. As opposed to going in there with the tallest guy in the daggone game and letting him stand at the basket and just kind of boom, put it in there. You make him shoot those threes. You make him shoot from perimeter because he can't hit them all. He can't hit them all. And as you see in soccer, it's the same deal, man. You sit here, you force low percentage shots, you get rebounds, you play defense, and you wait for your offensive opportunities. That's key. That's how you do it. We saw Japan. Japan played defense, and it was able to strike. Congo played defense, able to get in there and strike. You have to make the best of your opportunities. That's a big deal. That's a big part of this thing. Once you make the best of your opportunities, you need a little luck. You know what I mean? You need a little good fortune. We all know that, but it can be done. It absolutely can be done. And will it be done? That's something I don't know. But when you start to get to some of these teams that are a lot better, especially when talking about America, we can do it. I believe it could happen. I'm not gonna lie. It's not going to be easy, and I know all the pundits. I know all of the you know the people that are what do we call the analysts and all the guys that follow this stuff. They might say, I'm not so sure. I don't know. I don't think they could. Who knows? And what we say in football, any given Sunday, or Saturday, considering it's college. If you show up, if you step up, you have a good play game plan, you're good. And what does Mike Tyson always say? Everybody, everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. So if you get some of these teams that jump out early, kind of like what Japan was trying to do, kind of like what Congo's trying to do, score early, play defense, I would say one thing. When you score early and then try to just play defense and let the clock run out, that's a tough task. Sometimes you got to sit there and continue to go on the aggressiveness. And yes, that might create fast break opportunities for the other team. But at the same time, you can't continue to play defense enough because you keep hitting that wall, hitting that wall, hitting the wall. Eventually, you're going to break through, and we've seen that in number one of these games. If you keep letting them play in your territory and you're part of the area around your goal, eventually they're going to get in. So you got to have some kind of aggressiveness and get in there, and then you have to make the best of your opportunities. That's bottom line. You absolutely got to make the best of your opportunities. Get in there, get those goals, take over, take your best shot, and hey, we'll see. But yeah, this is interesting. Germany losing, Netherlands losing. That shows that it is possible. It is possible. Now, will it happen? I don't know. If I'm placing bets on it, I don't know if I'm willing to risk my money. But I'm gonna tell you, if you do, and it happens, kudos to you, man, because you will definitely make a couple more dollars. What is going on? Allie's in the building. How's it going, Allie? How are we doing this day? We're talking a little bit soccer. Upsets are happening. We're almost down to the round of 16. We got a couple matchups, I believe 3 today. Spain plays Austria at 3. Portugal plays Croatia at 7. And Switzerland plays Algeria at 11 tonight. And then tomorrow, Australia plays Egypt at 2. Argentina plays Cape Verde at 6. And then Colombia finishes off the round of 32 playing Ghana at 9:30. Then the round of 32 will be over. We're going to be into the round of 16, or the Sweet 16, as they say in college basketball. And hey, can these upsets happen? I don't know. I think so, but will they happen? That's another question for another day. Listen, it is your boy Sean Spencer. I am with you. Queen Rain is in the building. How you doing, Queen Rain? You know what we're up here. We're here We're chit chatting about sports. I am your host, Sean Spencer of Off the Wall Sports, brought to you by Off the Wall Media. You see it. We're on air, ladies and gentlemen, just chit chatting away. But listen, I got to take a quick breather. I got to grab a quick drink of water, and we're going to move on. We're going to talk a little football. But before we do, got to shout out the brand, shout out the crew that we're rocking with. Off the Wall Sports was so gracious to allow me to come on here and do a shameless plug for my brand, my crew. Let's talk football. Myself, my co-host Janae Struther are run a number of different shows on the brand, and we try to bring you the best football content that we have. Little jokes, some laughs. Stay tuned also for later today, Throwback Thursday. Gonna throw y'all a little gem, a little something special that you're gonna want to see. It's gonna be something cool. I think you're gonna like it. But look, tune into this. This is our little advertisement, whatever we doing. But yeah, shout out to it. I'll be back on the other side. Talk a little football. Let's go.
Episode of Let's Talk Football.
Yep.
I am Janae Struther.
I am Sean Spencer.
I am Janae Struther.
I'm Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football. Season 3, we are back. We are back.
That's right.
What's up, Mom?
Mr. Nick, I want the smoke, Rosario.
Hey, what's happening, kids? How we doing?
Hey, Janae, Sean, thanks for having.
We made baseball, football, and basketball. Great.
Is Carson back?
Everyone played to the last play. There's other leagues like Ravens, Blues. How hard is it for this guy? You know what I'm saying? I would take the Cubs next time.
I'm a call your mama. I'm a call your mama.
Like we can't back up.
I know it.
Maybe you guys need to start wearing cream.
All right. I am Janae
I
Struther.
am Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
Buddy, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Let's talk football in the building, baby. We'll be back this fall, September. We're down. I think we're going to start the season off September 4th or 5th. I believe that weekend. Going down there we're going out there to Chicago. I'm joining with Nicholas Rosario, Delilah Crespo, Anthony Handy, and Tina Winter on Let's Talk Football, the round table, as they do a opening show live in Chicago, Illinois, talking the game that we all love. I'm going to be producing for those guys, and I could not be happier to get down with my people, man, because they are some great people. Love getting it in with them. But listen, I am here. I'm solo dolo today. Your boy Sean Spencer, Off the Wall Sports in the building. Definitely gave y'all a little quick recap and preview of some things going on in the World Cup, because hey, that's going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope y'all can dig it. I hope y'all are with it. But yo, we got to move on, man. We got to sit here and keep this thing moving, because as you know, right now, it's July 2nd. We in the thick of baseball season. We in the thick of WNBA. We in the thick of the World Cup. But for those of you that's like me, you looking down that aisle, you like, is it you? Football? Is that you? Right around the corner? Is that you coming over the Himalayas? Hey, yeah. I need to know. And if you know me, I'm salivating for that football. I need that football, man. I need to bring that thing back because I'm in love. I'm in love with the football. That is my passion. That is my heart. Those of y'all that know me, I would rather talk about that than anything else. And we're right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. We are 3 weeks away. Actually, matter of fact, yeah, I'd say about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks away from the first training camp that will be started. I believe it will be on the 17th. I think it's Seattle and San Francisco. I think Seattle's on the 17th. Their training camp gets started. And then on the 18th, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is San Francisco. That will be started up, man. Love it. I'm here for it. We are right around the corner. We got these things going. I am hyped. Ladies and gentlemen, are y'all well, let me know where y'all at, man. Are y'all hyped? Are y'all ready for football to be back? Are you digging baseball right now? Are you the NBA free agency? We're gonna talk about that a little bit later, and definitely baseball and what is it? The World Cup, obviously, and the WNBA and all this other stuff. And hey, look, mad respect to all those other sports. I'm with it. I'm trying to dive into a little more of it so I can give y'all a little bit of this, a little bit of that for off the wall sports. But my heart, my soul, my passion is with football. I love it. That's where I stand, man. So let me know what y'all think, man. Let me know what y'all think. But look, let's get into it, man. Like I said, training camp is about 2.5 weeks away. The first one starts on the 17th, and most of them should be get going somewhere between the 17th and 28th. By the 28th of July, every training camp should be going, and that will be leading up to August 6th. Ladies and gentlemen, mark it on your calendar. August 6th, the Hall of Fame game at Canton, Ohio will be played. Let's go. Let's go. We are just over a month away from the Hall of Fame game. Man, football's almost back, man. We so close. We're so we're so ah, I need it. I need it. I need it back. And I am all for it. I'm hyped, man. And there's a lot of things out there, man. A lot of news that is definitely coming out. If those of y'all that are maybe late to the game, hey, moves have been made. Moves have been made left and right. Myles Garrett, he's no longer a Brown. He got traded for Jared Verse, and he is now a Ram. You got AJ Brown, he's no longer an Eagle. He got traded and he is now a New England Patriot. Diggs, where is he gonna go? I don't know. I was talking to my nephew yesterday, Brandon Ayuk. He's still in San Fran. That bridge has been so burned and destroyed. Is he coming to Washington? He said, if y'all let me out, I'll sign Washington. I don't know how true that is. Who knows? Him and JD5 played together back in college at Arizona State, when JD5 was there, man. So will he go over there? That would be great. That would give us number two. Obviously, our new OC, David Blau, is all into, Terry McLaurin and then trying to get this new offense going. What do y'all think? Would y'all make that move? Would y'all bring in Brandon Ayuk? And for those of you that don't know, a couple years ago, Brandon Ayuk had that kind of sit in where he was kind of sitting, didn't have it was a hold in. I think he didn't hold out per se and not come, but he definitely held in and just so he got his paid check, which means essentially he still comes to training camp, but he's just not going to practice. He's just going to come up there in street clothes and all that type of stuff till he got paid. He eventually gets paid right before the season. Then he he gets in, and I believe it was early. I believe it was before September, if not, fairly sooner, tore his ACL out for the year. And I'm not. I get it. Get your money, folks. Get your money. Make that paper. Do what you got to do. But when you don't have your legs under you because you weren't at training camp and you're going into season without your legs under you, I've just seen it too many times. Players get hurt. Terry McLaurin is a prime example. Last year, guy was holding out for his money. He was all about it. This guy is Mr. Washington. He is one of our franchise players. He is the guy that we want. He was willing to go if y'all weren't going to pay him, and he decided, all right, I'm going to stay. Let's do it. Let's get this contract done. We get the contract done right around the beginning of the season. He missed his training camp, so he's really not in there. The offense never gelled. We never played together. We were never on the same page. Gets in there early in the season, gets hurt, and had nagging injuries for most of the season. And it really hit between him and then Jaden, both of them guys having injuries. Our offense never looked like it was on the same page, and that's why we won 4 games last year. You know what I mean? So it's one of those situations where it's like, listen, you need to have a good training camp. You need to have a good off season coming into the season. And look, I'm not one of these guys that's talking about, oh, this guy, oh, look at he's ruining this, he's doing that. Get your money, people. I'm for that. 100% get your money. But there's something to be said when you don't go through training camp the right way. Certain things happen, guys. They happen, and I can't. I hate it. I hate it, but this is the way things play out. And so that brings up to the next thing. I saw this on Instagram the other day. My Bucks fans talked to me. Vita Vea. Vita Vea is holding in. I saw him at camp. Kind of, saw him kind of in, out around, with clothes, not practicing, not, really getting down, not running through any walkthroughs, any of that stuff. Now, mind you, hey, I understand underwear Olympics now. It's not a big deal. Let's wait till it gets to the actual, training camp and really gets into preseason and things like that. But hopefully they'll pay him. We know how dominant of a player he is. We know how much that solidifies that D line in Tampa Bay. And from every Tampa Bay person I've talked to, every panel I've hopped on and then they chatted it up and did their thing. All of them has said they have banked on him being a dominant force, him being a big part of that defense. They really relied on him being a guy that is, run stopper, clogging up the middle and everything. If you don't have him, or if he's not healthy, I mean, they talked about it last year. Not one part of last year did they have a healthy O-line or guys that played fully together on that O-line, and they suffered late in the year. Well, same thing applies to the defense, man. And it's going to be interesting. Who knows what's going to happen with him? Hopefully they pay the man, but if they don't, like I've said, these are issues. These are definitely big, big situations that we will definitely follow up on as we get to the season. Speaking of money moves and things that have happened, we talked about this earlier about Drake London getting paid. Now he's like the third highest wide receiver paid. I think he's like $100 million guaranteed in there for London, for the Falcons. And if you've seen his numbers and pair that with the quarterbacks that he's done that with, I mean, look, you got to give the man his due. You got to give him his money. And I'm glad he got paid and everything. And I believe they franchise tagged Kyle Pitts along with that. Along with sitting here and getting Bijan Robinson, you now have a team that I think is one of the more underrated teams. Now, Bucks fans will obviously come at me because Bucks fans think everybody else in the NFC South sucks and they're the greatest. Hey, it is what it is. I'm wearing your color. That's what you got for me. All right. But what I'm saying is pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, because the Falcons, I've told my guy Anthony Handy year in and year out, man, yes, the quarterback situation has been rough over the last couple years between Desmond Ridder, Kirk Cousins, Penix. We'll see if he can complete a season and if he can show up. It has been rough since Matt Ryan. The quarterback situation for the Falcons has not been great. But I will say, if you can get that, you have the weapons offensively. You have the pieces on that offense that can make it happen. You pair that with an up-and-coming defense, a solid defense that's got solid pieces. I'm telling you, we know there's a quarterback league. If they get a guy at quarterback that is consistent, plays a full 17 games, watch out for the Falcons. I'm be a lot of people are sleeping on Atlanta, and I already know NFC South folks, especially the Bucks fans, are gonna come at me for that. But watch out for Atlanta. I've been saying it for year after year. They tied with 8 wins, which 8 wins normally is like 8 wins is nothing, but they tied with the Panthers and with the Buccaneers for the lead in that division. 8 wins won that division last year. You know what I mean? And they tied with them for that. So I'm going to be very honest with you. I I'm telling you, watch out for Atlanta. That's as far as I'm gonna go. So watch out for Atlanta. Now they got their guy Drake London. Another team you got to watch out for. A team that was struggling with injuries last year. Watch out for 49ers. When they made a move where they ended up extending Trent Williams 2 more years, 50 mil. He'll still be there through 2028. Trent Williams, you know him, the silverback. Washington daggone gave him up for a daggone ironing board and a bucket of chicken. I mean, not that, not literally, but I mean, I can't believe it. I understand why he left. We did him dirty, but we definitely gave him up for next to nothing. And now he has been thriving over there with San Fran. So you now locked in one of the, if not the best tackle in the game. You lock him down for a couple more years. You're getting CMC back healthy. Okay. Purdy, you're getting him back healthy. And now Mac Jones as the backup, who is comfortable in his backup role, can step in and win games for you. You're getting, I believe, Warner back on defense. Who knows the whole thing with Ayuk? Who knows what that's going to do? They most likely they're going to get rid of him because you don't want him to be a cancer in that locker room. But then they bring in Mike Evans. Now they lost Juwan Jennings. We know he's over in Minnesota. I'm telling you, watch out for San Fran. If they can play healthy this year, bring Purdy back, CMC, Kittle back healthy. They now extended the silverback. That could be something. That could be something with San Francisco, and obviously it's going to be an uphill battle. You got the Rams, who a lot of people, and including myself, have I'll say penciled in, and I'll say it penciled because pencil has an eraser. I'll say especially if they are able to bring in Aaron Donald, which I don't think. We all know that's just rumors. They did get Myles Garrett, and and Aaron Donald has joked, man, that would be really cool to see if McDay can work that out. Then that would be cool. Another guy, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. If they can get him with his head on straight, Puka, that watch out for the Rams because they were right at the doorstep a year ago and just fell to the eventual Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Seattle Seahawks, we know they're returning that defense. We're returning Sam Darnold, who's had two of the most legit passing seasons in the last however many years. I mean, how many quarterbacks, if any, have had back-to-back? I don't think any quarterback has had back-to-back 14-win seasons with two separate teams consecutive. So 14 wins with Minnesota, and some reason they decided we want JJ, so they let him go. They let Sam Darnold go to Seattle. He ended up being the X factor, took Seattle to the Super Bowl, and now, hey, they're defending Super Bowl champs, but the MVP of that game, Kenneth Walker, they lost him to the Kansas City Chiefs. So what does that running game look like? They got Darian Price from Notre Dame. We know he was the 1-2 punch with Jeremiah Love. We'll see how that plays out. I don't know what's going to happen in that wheelhouse, but I'm excited to see what happens with that, man. And we'll see what the Rams do. We'll see what Seattle does, and we'll see what San Fran does, as a lot of people think that's going to be a three-headed race. And obviously, I feel for the Cardinals. That's another team. The Cardinals, the Saints, the Titans. Those are three teams where I'm like, all right, everybody's already counting them out. Everybody's saying, look at their schedule. They're going to get crushed, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. We'll see. Does that make me crazy? I don't know. But that's why I'm here, because I love to look at the underdog and see what could happen. You don't know what happens with these injuries. You don't know how these things play out. It's going to be interesting. Now, I will say, going back to the Rams, big part of that, we know they got Devontae Adams, okay? We know they got pieces all over that team. Puka has been by far one of the most productive wide receivers of the last couple years. Okay, we've seen how dominant Puka has been over his last couple years. If they can get Puka back in the right headspace, we all know he had to go through rehab, he had to deal with some of that stuff. If they can get him in the right headspace and they can get him back in here on the Rams team with the reigning NFL MVP and Matt Stafford, with Devontae Adams out there, with a legit defense, if they can get him healthy and ready to go, I mean, I gotta say, man, they are definitely one of the favorites in the NFC to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. It's obviously it's July 2nd. Who knows what's gonna happen between now and early September? You know what I mean? But as long as if you get a healthy Puka with his head on straight, with a healthy Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, get those pieces right. Now you added such a dominant defense out there. Rams could be big. So will Puka get paid? Will he be the highest paid wide receiver? I believe right now the highest paid is Jackson Smith-Njigba of Seattle, and rightfully so. I think he's got a 4-year, $168 million contract extension with $120 million guaranteed. And we've seen, I mean, legit, he has elevated his game. He absolutely was one of the major reasons that Seattle pulled out the Super Bowl and got the victory this year. And look, Darnold, he's found his guy. He's found his guy, which could lead to another question, and that is, what is the best wide receiver quarterback duo in the league? You can sit there and look at it and say, hey, what do we have? Puka Nacua and Matt Stafford. You can say Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. You know what I mean? We can sit here and talk about that Seattle, Jackson Smith-Njigba and Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? What is your number one quarterback to wide receiver duo in the league? I need to know. Shoot, I'll even say it. Dak Prescott, CD Lamb. Where's your head on that? Look, there's a number of good picks out there. For my money, I don't know, man. I don't know. I love Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua, but if you're asking me this 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp. So, you know what I mean? Like, the thing I think changes. We haven't seen a healthy Joe Burrow in a couple years. So, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, that's a big one. What is Drake May and AJ Brown going to do? That's going to be huge. So, y'all let me know, where do y'all stand in that? Who, in your opinion, is the best QB two wide receiver duo in the league? That's an interesting question. I'm definitely looking to see how y'all feel about that and what y'all think, man, because that's going to be absolutely an interesting play. So look, let's talk about that and get into that a little bit later. But look, we got it. Let's talk about a little NFL offseason update. In other news, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of stuff going on around the league, a lot of speculation. I've jumped in a couple of panels. I've been around a lot of these different groups and everything. And, everybody's got to say, everybody sits here and says, oh, I know because of the facts and what I've seen, this team's going to be really good and watch. And look, if we do this and we do that, and then they won't give the same grace to another team, and never. It's all hogwash right now. Okay. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Okay, if you would have gone back to a year ago at this time, find me one person out of New England that says the Patriots are going to go all the way. Okay, I'm serious about that, and that's where I think we're at. And I'm saying I live in Carolina right now. How many people are you going to sit here and say what it said a year ago that Carolina would have won the division? Now, I remember coming off their season 2 years ago, I said, watch out for them, because the way they played after Bryce Young got benched and he came back, he played inspired. He played solid football. If they can stay healthy, we'll see. They were able to pull it out, play tough in division, and get it done. It's definitely something to be seen. So shout out to these teams. We don't know what's going to happen, and it's going to be interesting. And one of these teams that we don't know about is Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a team that is very intriguing to me, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm wearing the color. You see that right now, but this is B more. This is Baltimore Orioles. So don't get it twisted, Washington fans. Don't come at me. Cincinnati, honestly, for my money, is one of the most, I want to say, biggest what if teams out there. Okay. For years, we've had, issues obviously with the O line. The year they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Rams, they were right there, right at the cusp. And it took a great performance by Matt Stafford or Cooper Cup for the Rams to get the victory. But what ended up, and towards the end of the game, what ended up being the big issue for Cincinnati was that O line. That O line, I think, gave up 70 plus sacks, or a record number of sacks in a season, and yet the Bengals still got to the Super Bowl and still came, a couple points away from pulling it out. Then obviously you have Trey Hendrickson 2 years ago and 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago, 17 and a half sacks each season. Now, obviously, there's the injury last year, and then now he's over with the Baltimore Ravens, and we'll see how that plays out with their new head coach and the new things over there. But what is, now Cincinnati doesn't have that, but then you pick up a Jonathan Allen, you pick up a Dexter Lawrence. What is Cincinnati going to look like? Obviously, you need to have the health of your quarterback, Joe Burrow, because he is what makes this team tick. But what are they going to look like? These are the things that I'm really eager to see and really eager to talk about. I just saw it. Yeah, I'm really eager to talk about because Cincinnati could be a dominant team. My guy Bazooka in the building. What's going on, Bazooka? Cincinnati could be a team that could be a Super Bowl contender. They could be a team that could go the distance. They have the offensive firepower. They can muster up a legit run game, and now they have a couple pieces on that defense. If they can protect Joe Burrow, we've seen Jamar Chase is a monster out there. He can dominate. Obviously, we'll see what happens in division. New head coach over in Baltimore. The Steelers, they have a new head coach, and they focus a lot on that defense with the aging quarterback. We'll see kind of how things play out there in Pittsburgh. And then everybody, and rightfully so, everybody was going to dog the daggone the daggone Cleveland Browns. Now they got Monken in there. We'll see what he can do. Who knows? Right now, is it going to be Deshaun Watson? Is he finally going to play? Is he finally going to get in-house? I don't know. And then you have Shedeur Sanders. Everybody's punching bag. Is he going to sit here and get in here? Is he going to play? I don't know. Me personally, I'm hoping Shedeur gets time. Deshaun Watson, man, look, you got your money. You know what I mean? Like Deshaun, man, you just need to ride out the pastures, man. I'm sorry, bro. I just don't think there's any more time. I just don't think we can keep trying to play this what if game with Deshaun Watson when you have two young up and coming quarterbacks in Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel behind you. And time will tell. We'll see how that plays out going forward. But for my money, I want to see Deshaun get it done. And even more than that, I really want to see what this offense can do. You got Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end from Bowling Green from a couple years ago. I believe Njoku's gone from there, if I'm not mistaken. You got a couple wide receivers. You got the Keyshawn Judkins, that running back. Obviously, huge loss on defense of Myles Garrett. But then you bring in a capable defensive edge rusher in and Jared Verse. So we know what can happen, how legit that can be. They're always going to be in an uphill battle in the AFC North. But if they can figure out that quarterback situation, if they could muster up some offense, and if they can just play significant on defense, if they can get out of their own daggone way, let's say that Cleveland, if they can get out of their way, maybe there's something we can look at. Unfortunately, and I shout out my guy Tanner, man, Tanner Hughes, diehard Cleveland fan, and has been living in misery for years. I'm hoping that they can pull something together, but again, I'm not somebody that is going to go out here and be crazy, and I don't personally think it's going to happen, but we'll see. We'll see what happens out there. Shout out to Cleveland. Shout out to the Browns. And look, for me, I want to see Shador get a shot. Personally, I want to see him get a shot. I want to see him shut down all the haters, all the naysayers, and kind of see what is up with that. But as far as in that division right now, a healthy Bengals team, that's my favorite. That's my favorite to take north. And when we've seen what happens when Joe Burrow is healthy, when he has Jamar Chase and Higgins, they both got their money. If he can get it going, now they got a couple, little defensive run stoppers and Jonathan Allen and Dexter Lawrence. If he can get the best out of them, and we know Cincinnati, we've heard they're all in. We'll see. I like it. I like them as one of my favorites in the AFC. If I'm going off the top of my head, 4 favorites in the AFC, I got Denver, I got Houston. I know my guy Nine is kind of like, we'll see, but I got Houston, I got Cincy, and I got my guy Drake May. I got my guy Drake May in New England, man. So those are my 4 favorites in the AFC. So let me know what y'all think. Let me know where y'all stand with that. But since he's going to do good. Now, as far as teams that are on the upswing, teams that are kind of, let's see what happens, let's go to the AFC, or the NFC. And we go to the NFC, there's 2 teams that really have me kind of, looking at, seeing, kind of what they do. And number one, that's in my division, the New York Giants. I've talked about them all off season. You bring in John Harbaugh from the Ravens, and he brings in a couple pieces, including Ricard, the fullback from Baltimore. You bring in some veteran leadership. Then obviously, you get Arvell Reese, you get an Owen lineman, I believe from Miami in the draft. You have Burns, who I think had 16 sacks last year. You have Abdul Carter in that defense. You have a legit front seven. You know what I mean? Obviously Jackson Dart. I mean, he played electric when he was doing good last year, and we don't know. Obviously, he had to make a little pit stop and introduce the president and did all that stuff in New York, and we'll see if how that plays a part in the locker room. We've said this multiple times, or I've said this multiple times. The cure for any kind of distraction is winning football game. Winning cures all. So we've already seen that's out of the limelight. There's been a lot of conversation, but like Abdul Carter says, once you show me who you are, how I know, So we'll see if that plays a part in the locker room. But then 2 big question marks for me in New York: Cam Scatterbo, Malik Neighbors. Cam, we know about that ankle. We know about the concussions. We know the style of play that he does is rough. It's just aggressive. It's bowl you over. He's been doing it since he was at Sacramento State, and then I cannot believe this is escaping me. Where did he go to college? Where did he transfer to in college? Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this is escaping me. But we've seen. I think it was Arizona State. It might have been Arizona. I think it was Arizona State. And we've seen how dominant he was when he was able to get his shot in college and going to the pros. And even in the pros, we've seen how he showed up and how he played. But unfortunately, that style of play, it limits your career. We haven't seen many players that had kind of that bowling ball mentality that have been able to play a 10, 15-year career. So we'll see how long that can last, on top of the fact that ankle, we've talked about it. And I've talked about this earlier in the off season. He was at that Brian Bird's charity softball event, doing backflips and whatnot, and are doing a backflip on that ankle. And you're kind of like, if I'm in the front office, I'm like, for real? This is what we're doing, my guy? Come on, man. Pump your brakes, my dude. Like, what are we doing? Miss Bree's in the comments. What's going on, Miss Bree? But so we don't know. I don't know what to expect from Cam Scatterbo. And that's a big part of that offense for the New York Giants, that run game. Can that run game sustain? Can they keep their things moving in that run? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Jackson Dart, for however well he's playing, he's kind of just like Jaden Daniels, where if he doesn't have a legitimate run game and you force him to pass all the time, he can do it. But if you make anybody one dimensional, it makes it harder for them. Now we look over at the passing game. Obviously, Jackson Dart has had the ability. He can do it. We'll see what happens after our teams they have tape on him. Here's the other part. Your main guy, Malik Neighbors. We all know the ACL injury. We all know the recovery has been slower than expected, and we're still trying to figure out. Okay, is he coming back? Will he be back on time for the start of the season? And what percentage will he be healthy? Will he be 100%? We don't know. But what we do know is that New York got some insurance policies. Now, with these insurance policies, it's kind of like if this is this is maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. Oh, wow, this is dominant. This is a little different now. Them getting Odell Beckham Jr., who we've seen dealt with injuries. He's kind of bounced around the league. It's a long ways away since his one hand over the back catch that he had years ago that absolutely made everybody just go, whoa, but he's, around the league, and thankfully he came back to New York, and who knows, maybe this is his final stop in his career. Then you got Juju Smith-Schuster, who came from obviously Pittsburgh, and then he bounced around, then he went to Kansas City, and now he's over here. He's, I believe, on the vet minimum, out here playing. So what can he do? Is he going to be somebody that's going to actually make a big deal? And like I said, years ago, these are blockbuster moves. Now it's kind of not so much. But we'll see. In any era, these guys can play. We saw Juju Smith-Schuster play legit with KC. So he can play out here. And now having this under a head coach like Harbaugh, I think that's a big move. I think that's a big move. And then the third one, and the pick that I actually like a lot. A lot of people might not know this guy as well because he played for New York Jets, but he's not going that far from the Jets now to the Giants. He is Braxton Berrios. This guy is one of those type like Wayne Corbett, Danny Amendola type, Wes Welker type wide receivers. Send him on those little mesh routes over the middle, catch it, outrun a linebacker, doing something like that, outrun a safety. And then he also has a lot of legit play on the kick return. He's played special teams from time to time, so he's definitely been good at that position. So you have 3 quality wide receivers that are definitely definitely can help in the time that it takes for Malik Neighbors to get healthy. You're giving Jackson Dart veteran wide receivers who have been around the game, who know how to play, who know what it takes to win, what it takes to succeed in the league. They've been around, they've been successful, and that is something major, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want you to overlook that. And for that reason alone, that is why I'm looking at the Giants and saying, man, they might be all right, man. They might shock some people, man. It might take them a while. I'm hoping it takes them till the second half of the season because we played them twice in the first half of the season. But it might take them a while. But I believe the Giants, maybe towards the end of this year and definitely looking into next year, depending on how things go with the transition of the new coach and everything, Giants could be that squad. Giants could be one of these teams that really kind of turns things around in the NFC East. And hey, look, speaking of the Giants, I believe this year, what's the name? Lawrence Taylor's getting inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. I don't know if that's pretty sure he's already in the Ring of Honor at MetLife Stadium, or if they have that. I'm not sure, but I'll look into that. But I know he's getting inducted into, I believe, the New Jersey or something like that Hall of Fame. So, yeah, the best linebacker of all time, in my opinion, out of North Carolina, Tar Heels. Yeah, gotta show love. Gotta show love to my Tar Heels for sure. Always will. Especially now down here in Carolina. Yeah, buddy. So, hey, shout out to him, man. A shout out to the Giants. And I know that's hard for me to say being a Washington fan, but I love this game more than I love my team. So I will definitely show love to the squad. Another team in the NFC that is interesting, and this is more for their quarterback that I'm really trying to see what they do this year, and that is Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears, who went from having a tumultuous season a couple years ago, ended up moving on from their head coach. They suffered, and it was all epitomized from the Hail Mary game against Washington, where Jaden Daniels hit that Hail Mary at the end of the game, and Washington ended up pulling it out. Last year, they turned things around. Last year, they were able to make the playoffs and even get a playoff win, and hey, came pretty close to potentially, you know, moving farther. I think they lost to the Rams in the second round, but who knows? The addition of Ben Johnson as head coach absolutely made such a difference in that team, especially when Ben Johnson got with Caleb Williams and they got on the same page. They were able to beat Green Bay. They were able to elevate their game, win the division, get to the playoffs. A team that has been next year's team for the last couple years. And I have been saying it. I have been saying it for a couple years. Even when Washington was beating them, I was like, y'all are that close. Y'all are close. It has been their coaching. It has been certain things that have gone on in that coaching room. Finally, you took those guys out. You bring in a great mind like Ben Johnson. You've seen what he was able to do, pulling things out and getting them to the playoffs. Chicago's loving this guy, and they're really loving their quarterback now. And hey, Caleb Williams on the cover of the new Madden. So I don't know. I think Patrick Mahomes is the one that broke the Madden curse, but is the curse still alive? That's going to be the question because Caleb is definitely on the front cover of it. But I'm eager to see what happens with Chicago Bears, man. I again have them playoff bound. I think obviously their schedule is going to get a lot tougher. But I think the way that Chicago plays, and especially they're getting a healthy defense, their secondary was just riddled with injuries last year. We traded them Montez Sweat a couple years back, and he's definitely helped them. They've got a number of pieces on that D line and in that secondary that are the truth if they when they play together and when they play healthy. So pay attention to Chicago this year. That's somebody. And a matter of fact, while I go there, let's go to there's three specific destinations that I want you to pay attention to. And it's year 3 for all of these guys. And it's picks 1, 2, and 3 from the draft. I believe now this is 3 years ago. Was it the 2024 draft? Where Chicago picks number 1 overall, they pick the Bears. Washington picks number 2 overall. Chicago picks number 1 overall. They pick Caleb Williams. Chicago's number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams. Washington's number 2 overall picks Jaden Daniels, and New England's number 3 overall picking Drake May. That was people considered one of the best quarterback drafts in recent memory. I think there was who we have? I think Penix went to the where did Penix go? Penix went to the Falcons in that one. I know JJ went to the Vikings. I know Bo Nix went to Denver. And if you looked at those teams, all of those teams, with the exception of JJ, and he's been injured, so we won't hold that against him. But if you look at a lot of those teams have moved up. There's one other guy that went somewhere, and it's escaping me where he went. Let me know in the chat if you know. But yeah, especially those 3, where you had Chicago getting Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels going to Washington, and then Drake May going to New England. We have seen the rise of all those guys. Obviously, the first year, 2024, Washington with Jaden Daniels, he takes us all the way to the NFC Championship game. Then year 2, or for those guys, Caleb Williams takes a lowly Bears team, has them pulling out random just victories after victory after victories, making it happen. The ball was bouncing in their direction. They were able to pull it out, get them to the playoffs, and win a playoff game. Then you got Drake May, who was the third overall pick in his second year, takes a 4-win New England team from the year before and takes them all the way through the AFC East and all the way through the playoffs and gets to the Super Bowl in his second year. And you look at that and you look at the three of those guys and how well all three of those guys played in their first year or in their first 2-3 years. I mean, that's beautiful, but it definitely puts the spotlight on them this year. Obviously, Caleb did what he did after he struggled in year one, got the right coach behind him, and had an excellent year in year two. What does year three hold for him? We see some of the pieces that he has. Can he continue that success? Will he regress in year three? That's going to be interesting. Jaden Daniels has an amazing year, wins Rookie of the Year, does everything, gets Washington to the NFC Championship game, and then year two, the injuries, the problems with contracts with his wide receiver, the problems with lack of depth, and all of a sudden Washington goes back to winning 4 games like we did the year that put us in the spot to get Jaden Daniels the year before. And then you go to Drake May, and all these guys, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams, all of these, in my opinion, were interchangeable. If they would have gone to a different situation, who knows what would have happened and who would have had the same type of success. But I do think their talent really was, I mean, that is going to be one of those drafts that you'll look at. And in my opinion, you compare it to the draft in the 83 draft. You had Marino, you had Elway, you had a lot of those guys get picked up early on. Like those are the drafts. I think the Kosar, I think Kelly came in that draft. Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, like all those guys. I believe the Kosar go in that draft. I don't think, maybe not Kosar. I know Kelly went in that draft. But though when you look at the draft we had a couple years ago with Jaden, with Caleb, with Drake May, and you see it, you're really now looking at year three, and you're looking at what will happen. Can Drake May repeat the success he had and take New England back to the Super Bowl, or at least back to the playoffs? Can Jaden Daniels, I mean, it's a tale of 2 seasons. 1 year, you're on top of the world. You take your team to the NFC Championship. The next year, you're literally in the bottom of the world. You're watching most of the games from the sidelines, injured, taking the team, to 4 wins. And I mean, you really didn't play most of the season. And then you have Caleb, who's kind of in the middle. You definitely outweigh expectations. You definitely jump up past. You get your guys to the playoffs. You win a playoff game. You have them in the hunt against one of the more dominant teams. Who knows what happens if the Bears win? Who knows if the Bears end up pulling that out and beat the Rams? Then do the Bears move on? Do they end up beating the Seahawks? Could they have beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl? I mean, my buddy said, it's my buddy Nicholas Rosario. He sure thinks so. Super Bowl 20 rematch. That would be interesting. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how all 3 of those quarterbacks progress going into year 3. Can they all have success? Are we going to start seeing? We've seen in year 1 Jaden versus Caleb, but Caleb didn't have the right head coach. Year 2, Jaden versus Caleb. Jaden was dealing with injury issues. Caleb got his coach and he was good. If that game would have happened in Chicago and if they would have made a Super Bowl and they would have played New England, we could have seen Caleb versus Drake. A lot of people will think, well, this guy should have been first, or this guy's better, and this guy. And we've seen each of them have some kind of semblance of success. So year 3 for all 3 of these guys is going to be something that I'm really looking to. And then you could throw another guy in there. You could throw Michael Penix Jr., who's had injury issues, but now we know he has one of the best running backs in Bijan Robinson. He's got a receiver that's not worried about money, because he just got paid in Drake London. And Kyle Pitts, who on that franchise tag now has to pay to see if he can get money and things like that, So if Penix can stay healthy, what kind of team does he have over there, especially with that defense? And then Bo Nix, if he don't get hurt against Buffalo, the end of the game, who knows if we're even talking about Drake May in the Super Bowl, because Bo Nix absolutely had those with that defense. Bo Nix had the Broncos in prime position to take it the distance. And I'm going to be honest with you. If we would have seen a rematch of Seattle and Denver in the Super Bowl, I can't guarantee you that Seattle wins that game. I cannot guarantee it because Denver, that defense has been playing out of their mind. Shout out to Patrick Surtain Jr. Shout out to the defensive coordinator. I God, his name slips my mind right now. I can't even think about it. But those guys have been playing up and out of this world. They've been playing amazing. Can they keep it up? Can Bo Nix come back and be healthy? Will they get another year where the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs, obviously he got hurt. Obviously they struggled. They added Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP from Seattle. Can the Chiefs progress? That's going to be something that I think is going to be very interesting to kind of see what happens in the AFC West. You got the Chiefs that are trying to come back and be healthy. Obviously, this weekend there's a little wedding going on. I don't know if you've heard about it at Madison Square Garden. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey. You know, it's being done before training camp, so we'll see. I don't know when the honeymoon is and all that stuff. Will he be back? Because we know Travis Kelsey is he got 1 foot out the league. You know what I mean? So we'll see what goes on there and how things go with Andy Reid and the Chiefs. But then you also got the Chargers. A lot of people are hating on the Chargers. And I'm going to tell you something. Chargers got a legit defense. Chargers got a solid quarterback. Chargers got some pieces on that run game, with Najee Harris and Marion Hampton. And I'm going to be honest with you. One of the X factor for the Chargers that a lot of people are sleeping on, a lot of people continue to sleep on, is that head coach. Jim Harbaugh is a fighter. Jim Harbaugh has won everywhere he's gone, from Stanford all those years ago. And if I'm not mistaken, he had CMC. No, maybe that was the other coach. I might be mistaken. I'll go check that. But definitely had Stanford playing legit. Then he came to the NFL, went to San Francisco. Hey, came one play away from potentially beating the Ravens and his brother in the Super Bowl. Then goes back to college, builds Michigan back up to a powerhouse, beating Ohio State several years in a row, and then eventually getting over with J.J. McCarthy and getting over the hump with J.J. McCarthy and those guys, winning the national championship before hightailing it to the league. But anywhere that he has gone, he has dominated. And I know what people will say. Oh, the Chargers, look what Herbert's done in the playoffs. Look how the Chargers have done in the playoffs. When's the last time they won the division? All I'm saying is pay attention. This head coach, he's starting to get in his wheelhouse. He's starting to get to this place where he's raring to go. Watch out for him, because these Chargers might be all right. They might be all right coming into this season. And look, there's a lot to look at this year, and I'm so excited. So many different storylines going. So I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing what happens this year, man. And it's going to be something. It's going to be something to see. It's going to be absolutely something to see, man. So let me know what your thoughts are, and how things are going with you. There is one other thing I did want to talk about. Actually, there's a couple stories that are going on out there. A lot of guys are in legal trouble. I don't know if you've heard about the Terrion Arnold story. I'm not going to dive into that. I don't have all the details, but he could be in some issues over there, I believe, in Detroit. Then just yesterday it came out, Calais Campbell. Shout out to Calais Campbell. Unfortunately, his mother is no longer with us. The reports say that she was murdered, and what the reports are saying is potentially his brother. I don't know what the truth is, so I'm not going to dive into that story. But we definitely want to pray for that family, because you never want to hear that at all, and especially when you kind of hear of how it potentially would have happened. So I will definitely bring more of that information as it comes, but I'm not going to try to dive into that. But I do want to dive into something. I did want to talk about CJ2K, and I alluded to this on my walk a couple days ago, that it just came out recently that Chris Johnson, the legitimate, the dominant, some can even say legendary, if you looked at those couple seasons that he dominated, See, Chris Johnson, famously nicknamed CJ2K, just publicly revealed on Good Morning America with Michael Strahan that he's been diagnosed with ALS, um, and essentially, for those of you that don't know, and more commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And he revealed that now he's 40. He was diagnosed back in 2025, but just now is going to come out publicly, and it has progressed way quicker than we expected. He's it's hard to talk about because he's basically lost the ability to grip, and then it just progressed so much so that he even lost ability to speak. He can communicate with an eye controlled speak generated device that uses recording of his own voice, that was captured before his loss of speech, and it really, mm, it's hard to hear, man. It's hard to hear. He when he talks, one of the things he said, he just he's still him. He's still CJ2K, still the same guy. He preached resilience, and just because his body can't do what he used to do, he hasn't changed who he is. And shout out to, he credited his wife Brittany and his four children for his motivation to keep fighting. Um, the type of ALS it is it's called it's a sporadic ALS that's it, it it's reached so much of him, and it was really hard to see the interview where you really didn't know, you just didn't realize that it had hit so fast. You didn't realize that just how quickly it had spread throughout his body and how quickly it had affected him. And if man, this guy was dominant years ago. I mean, 2009, he had that 2006 yard rushing season. I mean, almost 10,000 yards. I think 9,600 yards on the ground, 55 touchdowns over 10 years. Played for the Titans from 2008 to 2013. He's with the Jets from 2014. And I didn't even realize this. He played 2 years with the Cardinals from 2015 to 2017. Six consecutive 1,000 yard seasons over his career. And he's a three-time Pro Bowler. I mean, it's sad to hear. The Titans, they released a statement about it, and obviously a lot of people have reached out and kind of just done their best to, yeah, I hate to use this thoughts and prayers, because that's baloney to me. That don't thoughts and prayers absolutely 100%, but reach out, man, especially if you're in that community of the NFL and everything, reach out to them, talk to them. For those of us that are kind of on the outside looking in, man, praying for the situation, him, his family, just the care that he's needed. Send cards, send love, whatever you can do, send it that way, because that to me is something that it's hard. It's hard to think about. It's hard to watch. It's hard to just just to deal with. It's just hard to deal with. So, hey, we're praying for you, man. Chris Johnson, man. We just praying that God takes care of you. He keeps you. Thankfully, you have your wife and your children with you that could be there for you. And we just want to just lift him up in prayer. Just hopefully, he's it's sad to see, man. We get these guys on the football field and they dominate and they do everything that they do and they entertain us and everything, and then after their career, a lot of them fade. They fade into kind of obscurity and things like that, and then unfortunately, too many times you hear stories like this where a guy will, whether it be CTE, whether it be whatever other issues you're dealing with, but then you have something like this come up and it's like you hate to see it, man. So let's just, hey, and I think what he said was good. He's still him. He's still here. He's still got his family supporting him and motivating him, inspiring him to keep going. So let's yes, remember the greatness, the dominance of how well he played in the league, but also give him words of inspiration. send good messages out to him. Keep fighting, man. What I'm saying to you, CJ, we love what you did on the field and everything like that, man. But be a light to people that are dealing with that every day, man. You truly are a blessing, and we hate that you had to go through this. But hey, you might have been put in this for such a time as this that you could sit there and really bless other people to show that, hey, if you can go through it, maybe somebody else can last a couple more days going through it because they have somebody that they can know it's not just them. So shout out to Chris Johnson, man, and the things that he's going through, man. We're gonna take a quick breather and I shout out to my guy Anton Benton of Awesome Artisans. On the other side, we're going to talk a little bit of NBA free agency. NBA for you, man. It's going to be interesting, man. I'm kind of excited to see some of these moves that have been made, man. Let me know what y'all think. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But we're going to be right back. This is my guy Anton Benton, Awesome Artisans. Check him out. It's a good dude. Buddy, yeah, buddy, it is your boy Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that's Let's Talk Football. But today we are here with Off the Wall Media. I'm your off the wall sports guy, getting down to a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You know how we operate, man. Shout out to all of you that are here joining us today, hopping in the comments, doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, loving on your boy. Cause we just doing our thing. Yeah. But look, we over here chit chatting it up, man, talking sports. We gave you a little bit of football earlier, and also a little bit of World Cup soccer, man. Hey, shout out to World Cup, man. Still going on, still going strong, man. There's some games I believe that will start at 3 o'clock today, if I'm not mistaken. Who's playing on today at 3 o'clock? Spain and Austria will be playing in California at 3 p.m. Inglewood, to be exact. So definitely tune into that. That is one of 3 games that will be going on today. Portugal and Croatia will be playing in Toronto around 7 p.m. And then Switzerland plays Algeria at 11 p.m. in Vancouver, Canada. So, shout out to those teams definitely trying to move on past the round of 32 to potentially the round of 16. But listen, if you don't know, now you know it's your boy Sean Spencer with Off the Wall Media, doing a little sports talk for that. Everybody join chit chat with your boy. But look, before we get out of here, I definitely wanted to get into some free agent talk, my people. I got to get into some NBA free agent talk because since the NBA free agency has come about, moves have been made like crazy, and I think we can headline it by the one move that hasn't necessarily been made yet, and that's the biggest bombshell, ladies and gentlemen. LeBron James. A lot of people consider him the GOAT. Not this guy, Michael Jordan. There it is. But LeBron James is one of, if not the, definitely one of the best players of all time. Definitely many scoring records, many records that he's broken. The longevity. He is the only player that I know, and probably the only player that will ever have this, who has ever had the ability to play with his son in an NBA game, and having Bronny on the team. And that's going to be interesting because he's told the LA Lakers that he intends to play his 24th, yes, 24th NBA season, but not in Los Angeles. So the question is, where is he going to go? He's been in the Lakers 8 years. Obviously, in the bubble in 2020, they won it all. And Rich Paul says there's 12 or 14 teams that have expressed interest, and most notably, we've heard about it. The Golden State Warriors, obviously Steph Curry, obviously Day Draymond Green. You know, Steve Kerr is the head coach. This would be an interesting one. I've heard a lot of speculation. Obviously, Washington, shout out to my Wizards, has Anthony Davis. We got him in a trade, I think year and a half ago. And word on the street is that the Golden State has been trying to poke and prod and get Anthony Davis to potentially come to Golden State, because a lot of people are thinking that's going to be something that would sway LeBron over to the Lakers. Will it happen? What do you guys think? I need to know, because I want to know, is LeBron going over to Golden State? You know, I said sway him to the Lakers. They were already at the Lakers. Sorry, sway him to Golden State. Look, I've been on here for a minute, so I'm trying to keep all this stuff in. And look, the Lakers, to their credit, are really trying to pull these things together, because now that they know they're not getting him, now they are trying to rebuild and everything. They acquired via sign and trade with Utah, Walker Kessler on a 4-year, $130 million deal. And they signed Quentin Grimes to 4-year, $60 million deal. Colin Sexton, 2 years, $19 million. And then Sandro Manu, I can't even say his last name, but 4-year, $52 million out there. So, yeah, moves have been made without a shadow of doubt. And the Lakers are trying to turn this thing around, knowing good and well that LeBron's not going. The question is, somebody asked me this the other day, now that we know LeBron's no longer going to be a Laker, what does that mean for Bronny? What does that mean for his son? Will his son continue to be a Laker, or will he move on with his dad? Are they a package deal? That'd be very interesting to see. I guarantee that's not something that we've ever had to think about or go through in years past. But hey, that's something that's potentially on the agenda. So we'll definitely dive into that. But look, let's talk about some blockbuster trades that have happened either pre or early free agency. There are stars, big stars that are moving, and man, you see the graphic right under. Kawhi Leonard of the Clippers, been there for several years, got them to the playoffs. I think got them to one Western Conference final, never got them to the finals, never won the finals with the Clippers. He will be going home. He's going back to Toronto, and where he won the title in 2019 with the Raptors. Look, we know that Kawhi is a legit. He's a force. He's dominant. The fact that he is now going back to the Raptors, what does this mean for Toronto? And what does this mean for the Clippers? I mean, listen, the Clippers really put a lot in to get him. They really wanted him in there to help them and help, try to resurrect a team. And it really makes you wonder, man. The Clippers have had studs over the years. Whether it be Kawhi now, Chris Paul, I think Paul George years ago. Like, they've had a lot of players out there, and they just can't seem to get over the hump. And you look in the state of California, you look at the Golden State Warriors, who have 3 titles. Obviously, the Lakers have run the show for decades and everything that they've been doing. And it's kind of like the Clippers are like the redheaded stepchild, man. They just can't seem to get it together and get over the hump, man. But who knows? We'll see what happens as a result of this move. Can, maybe they get something, with now they're not paying Kawhi, maybe they can build something up. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see going forward. But I think one of the biggest moves outside of that one that happened, and one that everybody was talking about, even way back towards the end of the season, was Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, he was able to help the Bucks get their NBA Finals title, get their first ever, or well, no, not first ever, because I believe they had one back in the day. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he got them back to dominance, and now the question was, where is he going to go? Where was he going to move on to? And the move was made. He is now a Miami Heat player, ladies and gentlemen. He will be with the Miami Heat, ending an era of him with the Bucks, man. And it's sad to see him go. I know Bucks fans are kind of upset, and there's a lot of teams, a lot of speculation on where he would go, and the fact that he has made this move and is going to my Heat definitely makes Miami power right now. We've seen they've had some success in years past, but this could be a big deal. If I'm not mistaken, was it 2020 that they were in the final with Jimmy Butler? So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I think JB ain't there anymore, but yeah, let's see what Giannis does in Miami. That's a big move, man, to be made. A couple other moves that have been made most recently, and this one was a very stunning one. Jaylen Brown from Boston gets traded in a swap with Paul George and some picks. Jaylen Brown's going to Philadelphia. What? I don't know that I saw that coming, man. I was one that was kind of saying, yo, Tatum, Brown, back healthy. Yo, what's Boston gonna do? Obviously a couple years back, Boston won it, man. What are they gonna do this coming year? Can they pull it out? And well, it's looking like, hey, and Art's Manure shared it live. You in here, man? Talk to me, Art. Yo, you're NBA dude. What you think, man? LeBron going to Golden State? Come on, man. LeBron with daggone what's his name? Um Steph. Come on, man. Super teams, is that what we're doing? The Monstars, that's what we're doing. But I mean, I guess they need it because big boy over at San Antone is a force to be reckoned with. Victor Wembanyama, yeah, chasing of the ship. That's exactly what they doing, man. They trying to chase that thing, man. And look, I as a Jordan guy, I'm kind of sitting here like, bruh, go to Washington. All right, bring us out. I have more respect when you was with Cleveland doing it, and now you're going over here with Steph, where you already know he's probably the best 3-point shooter of all time, and we already know your prowess. Now, who knows who you're going to bring over, if they're going to bring AD and what they're going to do with that, but it's going to be interesting to see what they're doing. But yeah, Jaylen Brown going from Boston to the 76ers in a swap with Paul George and some picks is huge, huge. But word is he's trying to see if Cleveland want him. Going back to Cleveland for a third time, Art, man, come on, man. I mean, but think about it. If he go back to Cleveland now with Donovan Mitchell over there, and with potentially James Harden, is that the new big three in Cleveland? That could be crazy. That could be crazy. Man, these super teams in the NBA, man, they crazy. But you know what though, man? I think to some degree the talent has gotten a lot better. A lot of the mid-level talent is a lot better, and especially a lot of these rookies that are coming into the league and dominate. We've seen Cooper Flag, a couple years back, and obviously Victor Wembanyama, and SGA has been dominant. Like a lot of these guys, they'll come into the league and they really have an instant rise, and it's good for the game for sure, but it's definitely interesting. And because some of these older guys are like, all right, man, we gotta keep up with these young heads, man. We gotta keep up with these young heads and get it done, man. Appreciate you sitting that Art in the building doing his thing, yo. And let's keep up with some of these moves. Speaking of, hey, Charlotte, my neck of the woods, man. The Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball gets traded for Naz Reid and some picks to Minnesota, which is a big move. Look, Naz Reid, we saw Minnesota. They, for the first 3 or 4 games, were giving San Antonio all they can handle before San Antonio started busting out and pulling that thing out in the Western Conference semis. And Naz Reid, for those of you that know, Naz Reid is the one who took that elbow from Victor Wembanyama to the throat in that game that Victor Wembanyama got ejected. I believe that was game 3 or game 4. I think that was game 4 of the series that had happened. But yeah. So shout out to Nas Reed. He's getting swapped with Charlotte. And then one other guy that is pretty interesting, Memphis owned John Morant. John Morant, you know, the guy that was dominant for Murray State years back, ends up at Memphis. Obviously, there was a little bit of those issues with, you know, firearms and this and that. And, you know, he kind of fell out of, you know, the limelight, if you will. Not sure how the play went, but John Morant now is heading to Portland, gets traded for Jermani Grant and Chris Murray. Oh, Minnesota is going to be tough. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, man. I'm eager to see that. But yeah, John Morant now is in Portland. Got traded for Jermani Grant and Chris Murray. So let's see if John Morant could do something in Portland, man. Let's see what John Morant's got over there if he can do it. Wait, pro, yeah, man. Yeah, so he's out there in Portland. Portland, exactly, exactly. He got traded for two cats for Jermani Grant and Chris Murray. That's going to be something to see, man. Can he have a resurgence in Portland? I mean, listen, Portland is one of those places that's far, far up in the Pacific Northwest. You know what I mean? And you know, there was years that they was dominant with, you know, Clyde the Glide and all that, and they was going to finals and things like that. Most recently, I mean, they had it was Dame time with Dame Lillard, but we know he's since left there. So you know, see, I don't know what to believe. I saw a headline saying he was in Minnesota. Oh, really? Let me double check that real quick, man. Let me double check because I saw it too. Hold on. Yep, Portland Trailblazers. Portland Trailblazers get him. So hey, that is crazy. He is now a Trailblazer in Portland. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens and how his career progresses from this point. Real quick, there are some notable other signings. Mitchell Robinson, those of you that know him, and getting his ring with the New York Knicks just a couple weeks ago. He now is with the Boston Celtics and got a 3-year, $47.4 million deal. That could be huge for the Celtics. You know, he was dominant as a big man, came in and definitely held his own against Victor Wembanyama. You know, for however tall and dominant Victor Wembanyama is, when you got a bigger guy, a bigger body guy like Mitchell Robinson, who was kind of leaning on him in the paint, it definitely resembled those old school matchups, you know, big on big, where it's kind of like, you know, you can ball out for a while, but when you got a big guy leaning on you, you get in there in the third and the fourth quarter, and it's kind of like you really getting tired of having to hold this guy up the entire game. So Mitchell Robinson being in Boston could be huge. Another move, San Antonio. We knew they needed some veteran leadership. They were a very young team, and they got it in Tobias Harris, who got a 2-year, third $31 million deal to go to the Spurs. Tobias Harris, we know, has had time with the 76ers and dominated and been elsewhere. So shout out to Tobias Harris, and that move is going to be interesting. The Bulls acquired Norman Powell, 2 years, 45 million. John Collins goes to Pittsburgh to Pistons. I mean, 3 years, 51 million. And then Kelly Oubre Jr. is going to the Pacers for 2 years, $17 million. The moves are being made. The NBA free agency is in full effect, and it's going to be interesting to see where these players go. It's going to be interesting to see who moves where, who's talking to who, you know, and say, hey, you going over here, man? Let's see if I can get a deal over here, and we can work something out together and go to the same place, man. So I don't know. I'm eager to see kind of the destination that each of these players kind of go to, and kind of where their heads are at as we go. And there's still big names on the board. We talked about LeBron. We don't know where he's going. You know, my guy Arts was talking about potentially Cleveland. You know, I've heard Bron to New York. I've heard that as well. I've heard that as well. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see kind of where he goes. Hey, Bron, you want to show us something, man? Go to the Clippers. Stay in LA. Go to the Clippers. All right. You can bring them a title. You can do anything. All right. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes with Braun. James Harden, guy I talked about, who was over at Cleveland. He's unrestricted free agent right now. Where does he go? You know, bruh, right? Let's see where James Harden goes. A restricted free agent, the Pistons are working with, Jalen Duran. They're over there now. It says key names. Some guys that are generating buzz. Trey Young, he signed more with Washington, I believe, a 4-year deal. So I don't think he's going anywhere. Austin Reeves, I believe he also signed with the Lakers. We'll see what that is. But there's a number of guys that are looking to go elsewhere, especially now that when you look at it, you got Giannis making that move, and he's over in Miami. Now you got Kawhi. He's making his move. He's over in Toronto. So now you got a lot of these teams that are kind of like, okay, we got to compete. We got to see what's going on over here with New York. Can they repeat? They finally got their title and brought it back to New York. There's a lot of teams that are kind of looking and saying, hey, look, what does this mean for us now? What do we have to do to keep up with the Joneses? Miami's good. Oh yeah, Miami's definitely going to be fun this year. I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, I haven't really, and I'm not probably not going to dive into it today, but the Marlins are playing hot right now. So shout out to Miami and Florida. They on fire right now. We gonna see. The U. Shout out to the U. They got to the national championship last year. Now you got Miami with Giannis Antetokounmpo doing that. The Marlins are playing pretty good. You know what I mean? We'll see what Florida State does. Some of them squads. Yeah, they won some games. Yeah. Yo, it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens down there this fall, man. And I am so excited to kind of dive into all that, pay attention to everything that will be going on because there is a lot. Go Stros. Oh yeah, I know you living in Miami, but I know you still Houston guy. You still a Houston guy. So we'll definitely see what's gonna happen, man. Hey, I'm excited. I'm excited to check it out. I'm excited to just follow what all is happening and how this whole thing is going to play out down this fall. And we'll definitely hit you up with any of the news and notes that we hear from the off season and from all the recap a lot of the stuff. Obviously, you got the games coming on with the World Cup. We're going to touch on that. The NFL does it. If any Miami team wins, I will be in the streets with them wearing Houston gear. Hey, bruh, do what you do. Hopefully they don't play Houston because you already know Miami fans might go wild on it. But we'll see, man. We'll see. It's going to be dope to take a look at. It's definitely going to be dope to take a look at. But, yo, this is definitely off the wall sports with your guy, Sean Spencer. Just touching on a little bit of those news and notes. Definitely got into some World Cup, some basketball, some football. Just chatted it up with you. So, but you know how we operate towards the end of the day. We got to hit you with a little bit, one more thing to say. Yeah, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, one last word for the day. And look, that is, hey, we all got stuff that that keeps you up at night. Y'all got stuff that you can't stop thinking about. Y'all got stuff that you keep operating with, and it drives you wild. And you gotta do it. Do that thing. Do that thing. Whatever it is. If it's that thing that hopefully hopefully that's legit. Right? Sometimes other things keep us up at night. You want to do that? Don't do that. But but if it's legit, if it's something to help you, if it's something to progress, it's something to push you forward, do that thing. Because I'm gonna tell you something. That's the thing that's gonna get you to where you need to be. Okay, the thing that you love. You know how I operate. I'm doing a big sports guy. When football comes back, bro, I'm gonna be right here in front of the camera getting down because that's my love, that's my passion. But yeah, definitely do that thing that keeps you up at night. Do that thing that keeps you going, keeps you moving and grooving, keeps you motivated because that's going to be the thing that's going to really take you to where you need to go, man. So, yo, it's your boy Sean Spencer, man. We on air, but ladies and gentlemen, we about to be off air, baby. We out of here. We'll see y'all. We'll see you all on the flip side. Stay tuned to Off the Wall Media. They got a lot of good stuff coming up, man. So check them out, good people. All right, man. Peace, gentlemen. It is your boy Sean Spencer. We on air, people. We are live. And welcome to Live with Sean Spencer, your boy. Yo, so glad to be here with you guys.
That sun shining on you. Always put yourself in a position